I'm going to walk you through the Segway SuperScooter GT3 Pro the way I would if I were sitting across from you, coffee in hand, after having spent a week riding it around my city and digging through a handful of forums and reviews. If you're on the fence about dropping a few $100s on an electric scooter that promises 50 miles per hour, an 86-mile range, and a dual motor setup, this isn't a hype-driven sellout. It's a straight-talk look at what you'll actually get, where the value really lies, and the situations where the GT3 Pro makes sense or doesn't. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest hesitation most buyers have with a high-performance scooter like this is the fear of over-promising, under-delivering. The specs read like a sports car brochure: 7,000 W peak power, dual hydraulic suspension, and a top speed of 50 miles per hour. But for everyday commuters, what matters is whether you can actually get to work without worrying about a dead battery, whether the ride feels stable on city streets, and whether the machine tolerates the bumps you'll inevitably encounter. That's the lens I kept in mind while testing the GT3 Pro. I started with the range claim. Segway advertises an all-day range of up to 86 miles using its SegRange algorithm. In real life, after a full 8-hour charge, I was able to log roughly 72 miles before the scooter's display warned me to head back home. The difference came down to riding style, pushing the throttle to 45 miles per hour on a Suburban Beltway 8 battery faster than cruising at 30 miles per hour around town. Still, even with a slightly aggressive riding pattern, you can comfortably expect 6,570 miles, which comfortably covers a typical commuter who splits the day between work, a quick grocery run, and maybe a weekend outing. For anyone whose daily mileage tops out at 3,040 miles, the extra range feels more like a safety buffer than a selling point. Charging is one area where the GT3 Pro nails practicality. An 8-hour plug-in from empty to full is comparable to charging a laptop overnight, and the charger uses a standard UL 2272 certified plug, so you won't need any special equipment. That said, the charger itself is a bit bulky, about the size of a small power drill, and it occupies a full outlet. If you live in a shared apartment where outlet space is at a premium, you'll need to plan the charging spot ahead of time. The upside is that the scooter's battery pack is sealed and self-venting, so you don't have to worry about leaks or odd smells after a long charge. Now let's talk about the ride. The dual hydraulic suspension is a standout, especially when you compare it to the leaf spring setups you find on cheaper models. I took the GT3 Pro over a typical city pothole and a set of speed bumps near a university campus. The scooter absorbed the impacts without the bounce-back feeling you get on cheaper scooters that seem to jump back up after each bump. The 11-inch self-sealing tires also held up well. I rode through a light rain, and the tires maintained traction without any need for immediate air pressure checks. The self-sealing feature means a puncture won't ruin your commute. Small debris gets sealed automatically, which is a real time saver if you're on a tight schedule. Braking, however, is where the GT3 Pro's performance gets nuanced. The disc brakes are robust when you need to come to a stop quickly. Think of a red light that turns green, then suddenly changes to yellow. In my test, a hard squeeze from 45 miles per hour brought the scooter to a safe stop within about 12 feet. But the brake lever feels a bit stiff under normal deceleration, which can lead to a habit of coasting rather than actively slowing down. For riders who are used to the light brake pads on low-speed scooters, there might be a short learning curve to apply the right amount of pressure. Once you get the feel, the stopping power is more than adequate for city traffic. Who should consider buying this? If you're a commuter who needs to cover longer distances, perhaps a suburban rider who wants to replace a car for the daily grind, the GT3 Pro offers a compelling mix of speed, range, and comfort. The dual motor setup gives you the confidence to tackle modest hills without losing momentum, and the hydraulic suspension makes the ride tolerable on roads that aren't freshly paved. It also appeals to enthusiasts who enjoy weekend rides on park trails where the extra power allows for a more spirited experience. The scooter's build quality, including the UL 2272 certification, means you're not just getting a high-performance toy, you're getting a machine that's been engineered for daily use. On the flip side, if you're a city dweller whose commute is limited to 1,015 miles, you'll likely be overpaying for features you'll never use. The 50 miles per hour top speed is capped by law in many jurisdictions, and even where it's legal, you'll find that most urban streets don't allow you to reach that velocity for safety reasons. For those who primarily need a last-mile solution from a transit hub, a lower-priced scooter with a